TIL Tamara Torlakson pooped her pants while running a marathon and still set her personal best. Pro tip: if you're trying to encourage people finishing a marathon, triathlon, or any other endurance race, don't offer high fives. An Ironman triathlon is a 2.4-mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, and then a full marathon 26.2 miles. Every single finisher will pull off to the side of the road and take a shit, at least once, during the race. Guaranteed. The men's record is 7 hours and 21 minutes, which is enough time to need 2 shit breaks, honestly. And you don't want to think about how many times they'll have pissed in their shorts. Depending on the marathon run length, it's actually kind of unavoidable. You're doing so much running that it's pulverizing anything in your intestines. It's actually even referred to as runner's diarrhea. It's still gross, but it's just a reality of long distance running that can catch you by surprise, or it's something you can't hold anymore after the exhaustion sets in and you can't get somewhere to safely let go. This actually happens with fair frequency, as I understand. If you've ever been around a super serious runner, you'll know that they prioritize keeping pace above little things like hygiene, bodily functions, etc. Also, most people who do serious competitive long distance running eventually lose a bunch of toenails. I'd like to get back into running, but I was never anywhere close to that crazy about it. Zany face. Needing to poo and wee whilst running is the real deal. It's so odd, even if I go before setting off, I'll feel like I need a wee about 2 minutes down the road. I have a friend who nearly always had to stop for a wild poo when out running. The up and down motion and shocks from striking the pavement must have just shook the poo down to the chamber, ready to fire. Tamara Torlakson's digestive tract is a well-oiled machine. Whenever she has a race or a long run day, her bowels automatically clear before she hits the road. They sure had fun with that article, didn't they? I had to read it 5 times before I realized it didn't say before she shits the road. We all know she doesn't shit the road, she shits her pants. They should ban marathons. These people are freaks of nature in a bad way, and nobody needs to see adults crapping themselves and collapsing on the street with jelly legs, just so they can prove they can run far. I enjoy running, but I don't appreciate attention-seeking people willing to crap themselves to prove a point not worth proving. As someone who needs to find a bathroom immediately around once a month, I never quite understand how this doesn't happen more often. Professional athletes, musicians, and other occupations that require you to not go to the bathroom for large stretches of time surprise me how this doesn't happen very often at all. I think this or something similar is women's deepest fear, and they lie on the survey and say public speaking because they can even say it, either because individually held beliefs or group pressures have forbid it, so they can even mark it on the survey even though it is truly their ultimate fear. Never pooped myself, but I pissed myself in races, and not because I didn't want to use the toilet. Sometimes your insides jostle the wrong way during a long run. I always carry toilet paper in my Camelback during training runs, just in case the urge got me in the middle of nowhere. Imagine being remembered for that, lol. This woman makes products for the Special Olympics and works with a lot of woman empowerment groups, and she's being remembered as that lady who finished a marathon with a turd anger. Yeah, this is a pretty common thing among elites, especially during long distance events. If you're wearing a wetsuit, it's something you have to deal with because getting the thing off and on again takes too long when fatigued. Pissing yourself is extremely common. I've heard plenty of stories like this. I guess it's just the body's reaction to the stress. Like, we're clearly being chased by predators. Quick, dump all excess weight. Honestly, I'd probably give myself an enema before the marathon as a precaution. After my first 10K, I got back home and very suddenly hot pissed out of my asshole for a solid 15 minutes. I mean, just a stream of hot chocolate, where you're grabbing the sides of the bowl and just praying. Worth it though. The more I read about ultramarathons in particular, the more horrifying they sound. When you're going that far, you've got a couple of options for relieving yourself, and almost none of them sound good. Never trust a fart after mile 5 is my motto. Way too many close calls. At least when I run in and tell a place that it's a bit of an emergency, they usually let me use the restroom. I have the opposite problem. I start running, my body suddenly urges me I have to poop. Begs for release. So I end my run early and go to a toilet, but never had to poo at all. I think, intentional or not, popping yourself is common enough among marathoners. I mean, the original marathon literally killed the runner after he delivered the message. Many marathon runners shit while running. Have you ever been near a marathon course? It's like a crime scene afterward. The street sweeper isn't for the Gatorade cups. The mental fortitude needed for this is impressive, Literal shits happens quite often in marathon, but if I shat myself in a race I would go hide in a bush and cry. A lot of runners do. The London Marathon has hundreds each year, it's why the press photos are heavily doctored or selected to remove them from being seen. Apparently this is not uncommon with marathon runners. They're drinking lots of fluids, vitamins, protein drinks. Naturally things are going to happen. I think that gives her a proper reason to run faster. You want to air that out faster and get to the bathroom faster. Nobody likes a soiled diaper. I would rather come in last than having this article on the Internet Archive for the next 500 years for my descendants to read about. Isn't it pretty common for marathon runners to shit and piss themselves if they have to go? I mean, what other options do they have? She's in the same league as Mikhail Vol, Poop Man, who had liquefied shit run down his legs as he kept on going. What a champ! Nothing is gonna motivate a person to finish a task more than having shit in their pants that can't be removed until they're done. Sorry, but she is an amateur compared to the poop queen. Tim Horton's poop thrower. This is pretty common to sports like this actually. Most participants I know have already, or know someday it will happen. I started laying down on my bed while wanking off once vigorously. It was honestly the lowest point of my then. I run marathons. I'm not fast. But I can tell you from experience, anyone out there would poop themselves to get a PR. I believe the crowd encouragement helped her in the last few hundred feet with their chants of "Come on, poopy pants." She had to lighten the ship to gain speed. Everyone knows when you want to move fast you have to drop your load. If I poop my pants I'm definitely going to be running faster to finish and clean up as quick as possible. I pooped both times I gave birth. Sometimes you just have to push through and ignore body functions. On my worst day, I can confidently say I pooped in less pants than Tamara Torlakson on her best day. Someone shit themselves doing a WR or a PR squat once. Just kick the turd off the mat afterwards. Marathon running is one of the few sports where you can shit your pants and still achieve success. I usually have to stop for a bathroom break about halfway through a marathon, but not today. Winning with dignity? I get it if you shit yourself while being hunted by a bear or a lion. No big deal. If I ran a marathon and pooped my pants it would also be my personal best. I doubt I could set my personal best record poop while running. That's wildly impressive. Big deal. I pooped my pants at the grocery store last week and still finished shopping. All those fecal germs swishing around in her drawers would most certainly cause a UTI. Well, at some point in life, we all become members of the Sis Shit Your Shorts Club. Well, no kidding, she set a personal record. Can't clean up until you finished the race. I'll take what are things I didn't need to know but still chuckled at for a 1000. Big deal. I do this during most daily activities, you don't see me bragging about it. Think about our child. He will attend school as the kid whose mom shit her pants. Crying face. If there's ever an understandable time to crap yourself, it's during a marathon. If you have to shit your pants to win a sport I'd still consider that a loss. If she's like my cat then she really benefited from the post-poop zoomies. Shedding excess weight to go faster, that wasn't a shard. That was smart. Like kudos and all for keeping going, but why would you even tell anyone? Wouldn't personal best make sense since she shaved weight mid-race? I would not want this story about me to be circulating the internet. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is the good old runner's trot. And here I am pooping my pants walking to my front door after work. Athletes are weird. Just stop and shit, then try again next week. Tamara Torlakson pooped her pants is the title for my next poem. Still? That's why she set the record. No stops on this flight. Tamara Torlakson had to shit herself to run a personal best. Imagine that being what pops up when people Google your name. Even if she had won, I think pooping your pants cancels it out. You can poop your pants twice a year. It's not a big deal. Most runners and cyclists will piss and shit themselves. Course she did, without all that shit holding her back. If I pooped myself I would run to get a change as well. Nobody Google runners trots. You have been warned. I could see how motivated dripping shit can get you. That's cheating. She used her poop-based nitro boost.